The Galaxy S26 Ultra leak shows bold colors, and one's causing chaos. The S26 Ultra dummies have leaked in 3 colors, one of which is causing quite a stir. The image features 3 photos stitched together, showcasing the color options: silver, orange, and a goldish hue. So, why are commentators on Reddit expressing their annoyance? The orange color bears a striking resemblance to the cosmic orange iPhone 17 Pro Max, leading some to criticize what they perceive as a copycat design. Fortunately, these are merely dummy units, and there is no confirmation that this color option will actually be available. Samsung has a track record of producing distinctive colors, so we have little reason to believe that an orange S26 Ultra will be released. We recently confirmed the phone's design, and if the orange shade does make an appearance, we can expect a flood of comments similar to those seen on Reddit. You might remember that we previously shared CAD-based renders of the Galaxy S26 Ultra, which corroborate the phone's design. These dummy units align with that design. While the phone will closely resemble its predecessor, the differences will be apparent due to the camera configuration on the back. Although the cameras themselves have not been relocated, the 3 on the left do not sit atop a camera island. Rather, they are set against a pill-shaped camera island. The phone will feature a flat backplate, a flat display, and a centered camera hole, which is not visible in the current images. Additionally, the frame will be flat, and the device will be constructed from metal and glass. The Samsung S26 Pro is set to be the most affordable model in Samsung's S26 lineup, likely succeeding the Galaxy S25. The company has seemingly opted for a different name for its smallest and least expensive flagship phone. Nevertheless, we have gathered sufficient information about the device already. We have exclusively published details of its design, while additional information has emerged through various rumors and leaks. In this video, we aim to provide you with a comprehensive overview of what to expect from the S26 Pro, covering its design, specifications, pricing, and other relevant aspects. As a reminder, the S26 Pro is expected to launch alongside 2 other models, at least according to current knowledge. These models are the S26 Edge and the S26 Ultra. With that clarified, let us proceed. This video will be regularly updated with new information regarding the S26 Pro, which serves as a preview, encompassing both official announcements and credible leaks, rumors, and insider claims, as we approach the launch of this upcoming Android smartphone. Regarding its release, no specific details have been disclosed thus far. However, following Samsung's usual release pattern, it is highly likely that the S26 Pro will debut in January next year, coinciding with the launch of the complete S25 series, and the same is anticipated for the S26 series, albeit a year later. Given the absence of rumors at this time, we do not know the exact launch date. We will need to wait for further information, whether through informal sources or official announcements. The Samsung Galaxy S26 is rumored to arrive with 16 gigs of LPDDR5X RAM this time around. That's what the rumors have been claiming, at least. That would be an improvement over its predecessor, which offered 12 gigs of RAM. The phone will also be available in numerous storage configurations, although we don't know the specifications yet. Its predecessor started at 128 gigs, but we're hoping that the base model for the S26 Pro will be 256 gigs. Either way, you won't be able to enlarge that storage. Speaking of which, the S26 Pro will come alongside the S26 Edge and Galaxy S26 Ultra. The Samsung S25 was released with a $799 base price. That was the price tag for a variant of a phone with 128 gigs of storage. Now, we're hopeful that Samsung will preserve that price tag, but we're not sure how realistic that is if the phone gets both a RAM and storage update. It remains to be seen. It's possible Samsung will cling to 128 gigs of storage to keep that price tag. We can only guess at this point. Either way, the phone will either keep its price tag or get a $50 to $100 price boost. We're waiting for additional information. We have exclusively shown everyone the design of all three future Galaxy S26 series phones, the S26 Pro, the Galaxy S26 Edge, and the S26 Ultra. We've shown off those designs via CAD-based renders, which basically show you the final look of the devices. The S26 Pro will really look pretty identical to its predecessor. The most visible modification will be on its backside, with the camera configuration, as you can see as pictured. The S26 Pro will actually sport a camera hump on the rear, on top of which all three of its cameras would rest. In the case of the Galaxy S25, the cameras were protruding directly from the phone's back. The cameras will still be vertically orientated in the top left corner, however, and virtually in the same spot they were on the S25. The same goes for the LED flash, which will sit to the right of that camera bar. The phone will have a flat display on the front, with a center display camera hole up top. The bezels around that display will be both tiny and uniform. You'll note that its physical keys are basically in the same area as they were on the Galaxy S25. The volume up and down buttons lie on the right-hand side, the same as the power/lock key, which is placed below the two volume buttons. The phone's frame will be flat once again. It will curve slightly towards the edges, but for the most part, it will be flat. The phone's backside will be flat too. The handset is rumored to sport a slightly larger display this time around, a 6.3-inch panel, compared to a 6.2-inch unit on the S25. The measurements will be around 149.3 by 71.4 by 6.96 millimeters, 10.23 millimeters with a camera bump. So it will be slightly taller, wider, and thinner than its predecessor. Let's discuss the phone's specifications. Samsung is tipped to go back to a dual-chip strategy with the S26 series. That suggests that the corporation will use two flagship processors. In some areas, it will utilize the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, while in others, the Exynos 2600 will be used, at least based on speculations. The use of the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 has been confirmed earlier, but the Exynos 2600 is still rumored. That chip did go into mass production already, so it could be ready in time. Based on prior usage, the Exynos 2600 might be deployed in Europe, while the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 could be utilized in the US and China. It remains to be seen, however, whether Samsung may have other ideas this time around. The smartphone is expected to feature LPDDR5 XRAM, and it could actually get a raise to 16 gigs of RAM this year. Multiple storage configurations will be offered, starting at either 128 gigs or 256 gigs. Samsung will likely go up to 512 gigs or perhaps 1 terabyte of storage, which is less likely. UFS 4.0 or UFS 4.1 storage will be used, while you won't be able to expand it via a micro SD card. The 6.3-inch display is believed to be employed this time around. However, we're not sure about its resolution. The S25 has a Full HD Plus panel, thus the S26 Pro could keep to that. It will have an LTPO AMOLED display with a 1 to 120 Hz refresh rate. Nevertheless, HDR10 Plus will be supported, while the panel will also be plenty bright and flat. What about its battery? Well, a 4300 mAh unit is rumored, while the S25 contains a 4000 mAh unit. So there will be an upgrade, but not the one folks had been expecting. We've seen phones of that size with far larger batteries, but Samsung still doesn't want to employ silicon-carbon batteries. It's clinging to lithium-ion solutions. What about charging? Will we see an improvement there? No, it doesn't seem like it. The S26 Pro is reported to support 25-watt wired charging, the same as its predecessor, which is relatively slow by today's standards. The good news is that the phone will contain magnets on the inside. That gives us hope for QI 2.2 charging. It will either support QI 2 charging with up to 15-watt wireless charging or QI 2.2 wireless charging with up to 25-watt wireless charging. Reverse wired charging is also planned, as reverse wireless charging likely won't be done because of the magnets. The charger also won't be included in the box. What about the phone's cameras? Well, we won't be seeing major improvements, at least based on what was reported thus far. The main camera will get a new sensor, but it won't deliver a huge boost, it is reported. The telephoto camera will remain the same as last year, a 10-megapixel one with the same sensor. The ultra-wide device is tipped to get an update to a 50-megapixel sensor. The tipster alluded to the sensor within that ultra-wide camera as a useless 50-megapixel sensor, so we'll see. A different report indicates that the same 12-megapixel ultra-wide unit will be employed, like on the S25. Should you wait to buy the Samsung Galaxy S26 Pro? The appeal of this phone will be heavily contingent on its price. If Samsung manages to keep the same price tag, it may be quite appealing. It should give a performance improvement, even though its camera upgrades are doubtful. A little greater battery is always welcomed, even though we likely won't perceive a charging bump along with it. The smartphone will be slightly larger too. Those of you who wish to see magnets within this phone will get their desire. All in all, it seems like a mixed bag thus far, but we'll see. So that's all we know for now. We'll be sure to keep you updated as soon as we have more information. Thanks for watching.